Let's be honest, this is what 99% of AI-generated articles look like. A wall of text. It's lifeless, it's forgettable, and search engines are getting better and better at spotting this kind of low-effort content. Frankly, it's a bit embarrassing to publish, and I knew there had to be a way to automate the visual storytelling that makes an article stand out. So I built this, an agent that acts as my blog's art director. This entire article, with every single image perfectly chosen and placed, was generated with zero manual image work from me. Today I'm going to show you exactly how this media creator agent works. It reads the article, writes its own creative prompts for tools like DALL-E, and embeds the final images automatically. It's time to stop publishing boring blogs, so let's go build it. Okay, so this is the larger SEO agent team that I've built, and the media creator obviously sits as one of the sub-agents in that team. So we're going to focus on that one today, but the content that it's creating images for is produced earlier in the team's efforts. So this is it, the art director or media creator as I've named it here. As I mentioned, what we're doing to start off with is actually pulling in the blog outline. So this has been written in the previous parts of the workflow by the other sub-agents. So we've got the outline writer and the content writer agents that do their job. What we're doing now is getting that blog outline from our database record for this article. And that's done by this Superbase node. So yeah, literally just calling that on there. Then what we're going to do is extract the title and subtitles out of that. So we have the broad outline of the piece that's been written already. So that's what we're doing here. We're just basically splitting those out. We're getting the heading and actually then, just taking the first three H2s, so each of the section headings, the first three section headings in the piece that's been written, that we can use in the next steps. And that's basically the aim of what this agent is doing, is structure its approach is to firstly create a featured image based on the title, and then also use those section headings to create images that run throughout the blog piece. So you haven't just got one image at the top, you've got images that flow through the article as you just saw. The process is pretty similar for both, but let's jump into how that works. The first step is this tools agent. So this agent is writing the prompt for the image generator. So as you can see there, write a prompt for the image model in ChatGPT 4.0 that is relevant to the following blog title. So that's the user prompt. And then obviously we've got this system message, which gives some more detail and follows the same kind of structure that we usually follow in prompts for best practice. So starting with its role, you're a world-class visual concept artist. Then it's giving some SOPs, like the thinking process that must be followed, step 1, step 2. So just to dive into a bit of detail there, you think of a simple grounded metaphor that symbolizes the outcome or transformational benefit implied by the title. Because what I found when I was asking for images to be created and the prompts that were kind of coming out initially without much direction were very, maybe just because I write a lot of content around AI and this system and this team and agents. I found a lot of very sci-fi futuristic-y type images being produced, and they weren't that creative. And I thought about how we would do this as a human process, and quite often a great way to do it is to use a metaphor. So something which visually represents the concept that we're discussing to make it a little bit more interesting and capture the user's attention. So yeah, then as instructions specifically say, avoid anything abstract sci-fi involving digital screens or charts or AI devices, which it seemed to really leaning and gravitating to. The metaphor must come from real life. Think nature, travel, physical action, daily rituals, or currently culturally relevant ideas. So then step 2 is to write the image prompt. And it's asking it to describe a photorealistic scene, and include the setting and the subject, etc. Do not include the title or restate it, and avoid quotes and special characters. I think this prompt was actually from before the 4.0 model update, where image production got a lot better. But even still, just based on the style of blog that I'm producing, we didn't really want to include text overlays on the images. And then some examples. Again, a great way to show the LLM what it is you're looking for from these prompts. So it gives examples of the title, and then the kind of prompts that it should come up with. That gets parsed, ready to be sent into OpenAI. So to use DALL-E, create a photorealistic image. Again, that's just the style of my blog, but you could change that prompt to fit your style of the output, which is the image prompt that the LLM just came up with. That will then come back with the image that's been produced. And I think a quick note here that is worth making. I've also built other versions of this. So this one is using DALL-E, but I've actually taken another approach with other client builds where we use Together, which allows us to access different image models. I think it was Black Forests that we were using there. And the Pro model could produce pretty decent images there too. So yeah, after the images have been produced, we're then, just as a way for us to store and host that, we're storing it in AWS S3. And once that image path location has been set by AWS, which we'll just quickly jump into that node so you can see. So you have to create your own bucket in there. If you're not familiar with that, and you're interested, I could create a short tutorial to run through how to set this up. So just let me know in the comments if that's of interest. But yeah, that's adding that there. And then we're using a Supabase node and adding that image to the record in the database. So yeah, we're just quite literally storing the image path location against the content in our database. And then what we do is basically repeat that process. But here we're taking, like I say, the section headings, splitting out each of those H2s and looping over each of those 3. The process is repeated exactly the same as it was above, except all we're then doing and changing in this part of the flow is pulling the URLs of each of those image locations back together and feeding it to this LLM. The sole role, as we've described here, is to embed the image URLs into the HTML of the existing content of the article in the appropriate sections. So it's doing the job, and it does it really well, which was a little bit surprising to me, but it's a very short, simple prompt, and it does a great job, and it matches the location of those images to the relevant H2 section. Yeah, and then what we're doing then is updating the complete body of content in the database with those new images embedded into the article. And that's then ready to go off to the publisher, which is the final sub-agent in the whole team. And I'll do a video on that shortly, probably coming up in the next week. So I hope that's been of use. If you like what you're seeing here, like I say, I've done other tutorials on the other sub-agents that make up this broader team, that produces well-written, researched SEO blog content with images to make it look visually rich as well. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.